Hello, so today is May 15th, 2016, and it was 1 year ago today that my beloved cat, Con, died. Actually in this room right over there. And this year has been a year of adjustment, healing, recalibration. I miss him, but I have gotten on with life, and I've learned to live and experience the joys of life without him, but he will forever, again, live in my heart, my memory. So in that sense, he's still with me. Also, I have a lot of pictures of him, including this one, my favorite picture of him that I had framed actually while he was still living. And behind me is this lovely blanket with images of him on it. My friends in Ontario, the Udall clan, Sherry, Jim, Caitlin, and Brittany, they went on my Facebook and fished their favorite pics of Con, and they produced this for me after he died, and it's a great comfort and it's a wonderful gift. And so Con was the center of my life. He was a diabetic cat. He was a special cat. He loved humans. More people over, the happier he was to see them. He would greet everyone with a hello and a snuggle usually. He was his own cat. He had his own likes, his own dislikes. He loved coffee for some reason. He loved sushi, especially tuna. That was his favorite, tuna sashimi, which in this photo he's actually eating a chunk of from Kalala Sushi here on Hastings in Burnaby, and I strongly recommend that business to anyone. So he always made me smile, he always made me laugh. Just having him in the room lowered my resting heart rate. I have very high heart rate as a result of some conditions I have, and also because of the drugs I take for my ADHD. I have a bit of a high heart rate. So he was therapeutic. In a sense, he was a therapy cat. And he was the center of my life, and he gave me a sense of purpose, of stability, of self-respect and pride to have. And he was someone I will say that connected me with other people. He was always something I could talk about to others, and I probably talked about him too much, but whatever. It felt good. And people loved him. My friends loved him, and they would always have an excuse to come over. They would be like, I just want to see Con, and that was always nice. I will say that his death a year ago was perhaps one of the shittiest days of my life, because obviously I'm losing this beloved pet, the first cat I've ever had on my own. I can't help but go back to that day and remember when he died, just right there, my first feeling of all things was actually immense relief. It was the first time in weeks that I was certain that this cat was not in a state of pain and suffering, and in hindsight, I really should have had him put down, and I greatly regret that I didn't. But I guess, you never know how these things are going to unfold. And a lot of pet owners tell me that the reverse, they sometimes regret that they had their dog or their cat put down too early, or they regret that they didn't too late. At the end of the day, we don't know. And I do remember going through his stuff after, because he was diabetic. He had a lot of medical equipment, his blood glucose meter, his needles, his litter box, everything. And for whatever reason, that was the hardest part for me, was just sort of getting rid of all that. And I knew I needed to do it because, well, I don't have a cat anymore, so it didn't make sense to hang on to it. But that was very painful for me. And for his litter box, I was cleaning his litter box after he died, and I knew it was like the last time I was going to be doing that, this routine of mine that came part and parcel with cats that I always hated, because litter boxes are fucking gross. But this was the last time I would ever do it, and I just remember feeling really emotional about it, A, because it was a task that I would never do again, and B, he died in the litter box, and I just couldn't bring myself to throw his litter box out. I cleaned it. It was clean. But I just said to housemate, you're not going to bother me about this, please. I want to just keep it for a while. I will get rid of it. And I did, but I needed to, just for my own whatever, to keep it there. And I did, and that was helpful. But then when the next garbage truck came, I did, of course, in the middle of the night, quietly throw it out, and it's gone. Also, the furniture, there was cat hair all over the furniture. However often I cleaned it, it would always build up, and I spent a day cleaning the cat hair out of everything, and I just was overwhelmed. I was like, I don't want this furniture anymore. A, it's shitty, crappy, old furniture, and I'm sick of sitting on it, and it's embarrassing to have guests over with it. And B, it reminds me a lot of Con, and I need to perhaps not have those reminders around all the time. So I didn't really have a lot of money, but I did it anyway. I got new furniture from Craigslist, good furniture that I like, and threw out the old, and that helped me kind of transition. I also think back to the day he died, and I don't know, maybe I think about how a pharmacist at Shoppers Drug Mart at Kensington was a total bitch. That's Kensington Square in Burnaby on Hastings. If I knew her name, I would say it in full, but I forget it. But she's a pharmacist there, and this helped. I stopped going there shortly after. But anyway, the point is, I go in there, and he had just died, that morning, and I brought in his needle bin maybe 2 hours later to dispose of it. That is his old refuse needles, and I explained that my cat had just died, and I was returning the needles to be disposed of properly, and she was horrible. She treated me like a drug addict, which would be extremely embarrassing under normal circumstances, but on this day, it's something I'll remember for the rest of my life. And I told her, I said, how dare you treat me this way? I've been a loyal customer here for 9 years or so, and you never seem to have a problem when I'm buying his drugs or his medical supplies, but in my moment of, grief and vulnerability, you choose to behave this way. It's unspeakably rude. And I told her that. And someone said, if I was a fucking barista at Starbucks, I would accept that needle bin. Now, she had said we can't accept it, which I guess I understand, because apparently it's not the right shape. I'd had two, one bin from Pharmacist and one from Shoppers, and I don't know, I forget which was which, and I didn't know they had special restrictions, but human decency seemed to suggest that perhaps she should have handled that situation in a more professional manner, more courteous. I should note that later on she would end up fucking up one of my prescriptions in a way that had I taken the pills she gave me, I would have ended up in the fucking hospital. So a little bit of anger there. That I just felt like sharing and expressing on the internet. Moving on, people are always asking, you're going to get another cat, are you going to get another cat? And I think eventually I will. I love cats more than anything, but on the other side of things, I'm quite enjoying being a non-cat owner, a non-pet owner, being pet-free, as it were, because perhaps I'm thinking the energy that I put into taking care of my cat and the routines that I built up around him, I could perhaps dedicate now to myself and learn some tools of better self-care, and I have. So, for example, the day Con died, in fact, I got news that funding for my braces had been approved, and they were a for sure thing, and it just so happens that the maintenance of my braces takes approximately the same time that the maintenance of Con would take, his diabetic stuff anyway. So I get up in the morning, I do the you know, the whole picking and flossing and everything, and before bed I do the same. And so in a way, my braces and the upcoming surgery I'm getting have sort of displaced my cat. But again, people ask, will you get another cat? I say I don't know, and it probably won't be for a while, several years in fact. He was sort of a one-off thing, and perhaps one day I'll find another cat that's just as special and wonderful, but I will always remember Con. He was the best, and I miss him, and I celebrate his memory, and I think about him and smile.